Hello everyone, my name is Ezra, and you're watching Mo 15.
Mo 15.
Now today I'm going to be teaching you all how to change your oil in your 1997 Ford Ranger. So, let's get the show on the road. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sweeping out my shop, just to be able to work in a nice, clean working environment. This is not required for changing your oil, but it is nice to work in a clean environment. Next thing you're going to want to do is raise the truck up itself. Now I have vehicle ramps where I can just drive up on top of them, but you can easily do this with a pair of jack stands and a jack. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to drain the oil itself. Now I've highlighted where the drain plug is on the truck. This is a 4.0 V6, so if you have a different displacement engine, it might be in a slightly different place, but they're all going to be generally in the same place. You're going to need a drain pan or 5-gallon bucket to catch the engine oil. Also, be very careful draining the oil if you've let your engine run for a little bit. It will be hot. Also, I personally wear gloves when I change my oil. After you've waited a few minutes for all the oil to drain out of the pan, it's time to put the drain plug back. Make sure when you're tightening it, you don't need to tighten it super tight. Enough grip with your hand with a little bit extra will be just fine. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, since we're still underneath the truck, we're going to be taking out the oil filter, which is right next to the oil drain plug, as you can see in the circled area. Now, as the name suggests, the oil filter does have oil in it, so it is going to leak a little bit. So just be cautious when you're taking it off. I'm personally using an oil filter socket to take it off. However, there are some oil filter wrenches where you can buy for fairly cheap. They fit on the filter and use friction to turn the filter on and off. Also, don't be like me and make a mess with your oil filter like I did. Now, I'm using Valvoline 5W30 oil. That is what my 4.0 liter V6 engine requires. That my owner's manual told me to use, and that's what I'm going to use. I really highly recommend using the oil that your owner's manual says to use. Even if you have some lying around your garage or you got something cheaper, get what your engine says to do, because in the long term, you're going to save yourself a lot more headache using yourself the right oil. This lubricates all your pistons and your crankshafts. All that stuff inside your engine to keep it flowing so nothing seizes up from heat and such. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Wix Oil filter, and I'll put a link down below of all the parts numbers that I used in this. But I'm going to use my Wix Oil filter. There's a few different ways people do this. Some people will fill their oil filter halfway up and then put it on. Some people will just put the oil filter on dry and then fill up their truck. I'm going to fill it up just halfway, because I've heard both sides of the story. So that's what I'm going to do, but let me know down in the comment section below what you guys do with your oil filter. So let's fill this up. Now what I got here on my finger is some old oil off the drain pan, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to rub it along this seal, like so. This is because when we put it back onto the truck, it's going to twist a little bit, and we want this to keep all the oil in. We don't want any oil leaks anywhere, really. So, again, here's that part number for this Wix oil filter. There's a few different brands. You can choose what you want to use for brand-wise. And there's a few different sizes. I personally went to O'Reilly's to get this, and she said, hey, this is the truck I got. Can I get an oil filter for it? And they said, yep. So, I got to put my little tiny funnel inside of it. Take off the seal. I'm going to fill it up very carefully. It's not going to have a whole lot inside of it. Oh boy. I'm honestly going to let that. I could put a little bit more in there. Yeah, there is a reason why I see why people don't do this. If you're not careful, it can still be a mess. There's some oil in there. When we turn the truck, the oil pump will run the rest of the oil and fill the rest of this all. So, yeah, let's go put this on the Ranger. Alrighty. Reach my hand on up there. That's all it takes. It just needs to be hand tight. So I can't get a super good angle with my trusty ladder tripod here, but if we open our engine bay, on the passenger side of the vehicle, there's going to be kind of in the middle this oil cap, and it should say engine oil on it. Or have the oil, yep, there it is. I'm going to take that off, and that is where we're going to fill it. Now, my 4.0 V6 takes 5 quarts of oil. I'm not sure about the other displacements of engines. I know there's a 3.0 and there's a 2.3 inline 4. And I'm not sure what the oil is. I'm going to get a bigger funnel. Alrighty, there's that. As I was saying, I'm not entirely sure what the other oil amounts are for the other trucks, other engine sizes. But if you read your owner's manual, it should definitely tell you. And if you don't have your owner's manual, whether it got lost or destroyed or something, it's online. There's so many of these Ford Rangers that you can find almost every little bit of information on them. But I can tell you that the 4.0 takes 5 quarts of oil. Now, as I'm filling this, I want to be very careful not to pour it in all at once. So I'm kind of filling it in bit by bit. Alright, so I got about a quart left in there. I'll let it settle just for a little bit, and then I'm going to add probably about half a quart more, and then I'm going to check the dipstick. I'm going to add about half a quart more, let it run for about 2 minutes or so, see where I'm at, and then check my dipstick, and then if it needs more, then I will add more. Now, the reason being that I want to run it a little bit low is because I can always add more. It's a real pain in the butt to drain more oil out of it if you overfill it. Alright. I'll get my rag. Try to keep my workspace as clean as possible, even though I've made quite a mess already. Put that like that. I'm going to put the cap back on and let it run for about 2 minutes. Actually, probably not 2 minutes, because it is a little warm right now already. I did drive just a little bit before I headed in, before I did this oil change. Come on, there we go. This is a good time to go around your truck. Make sure you're not having any oil leaks. I'm going to show you something inside the cab. So, this meter right here, I got a tachometer. If you guys don't have a tachometer, then it's still going to be similar. But this is my oil pressure gauge right here. And if that should be in the middle, right? That's where you want your oil pressure to be. When I first turned on the truck, it was all the way down here. It was probably about a second or two, and then it shot back up right where it needed to be. That is good. You want your oil pressure to be in the middle. If you see yours is too low or too high, then something is too wrong. I'm not entirely too sure how the whole pressurizing system throughout it works. I'll go to school and learn about that eventually, but in the meantime, I do know you want that in the middle. Just go underneath, check for any leaks. minus that mess I made earlier. I don't see anything. Now, a good thing to note that if you smell some burning oil, it might have been is that if you made a mess like I did today, it might have been that your oil went onto the muffler. Now, I don't smell any oil right now, but I did smell, or I did put a little bit of oil, or I did spill a little bit of oil onto the muffler, and then that'll just burn off, and then it'll all be good. But if there's a continuous smell of oil, then something is bad and you need to check for double leaks. I would check to see maybe if your fuel filter is, or I'm sorry, your oil filter is maybe leaking a little bit and onto your muffler or whatever. There's a bunch of different things you can check. Alright, I'm gonna turn it off now and check my dipstick. So I'm not entirely sure if this is an aftermarket dipstick or what, but nevertheless, your dipstick is gonna be on your driver's side, and it's gonna be a handle similar to this. Again, I don't know if this is aftermarket or if it's stock, but it's pretty obvious. There's just a tube right there. I'm going to get my rag. I'm gonna take this off because I probably need a little more, honestly. Put that there. Give me my rag back. Alright. Dip that back on in there. Make sure it goes as far as it can go. Pull it out. Take your rag like so. And alright, so you can't really see it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but oh, camera's not going to focus. But you might be able to see a little bit right there. Oh, come on, phone. But a little bit of low in oil, so we're going to add a little more. Alright, let it sit for a little bit. Alright. So again, I don't know if my camera will focus. I'll try to show you guys. Come on. Anyway, there is a little bit, there are lines on your dipstick that says add. There's like some cross marks on it, and then it says full on it. And you want it to be right at their full line. I'm sorry, I'm doing a horrible job lining that up, and it's not focusing, but you want to wipe off your rag, or your dipstick, I'm sorry. Stick it back in. Put your cap back on. Put your funnel away, of course. There we go. Mine never wants to go on. There we go. And we're good. Now, before we call it quits for the day, make sure you write down somewhere, whether you write on your bottle and you keep the bottle, which I like to do, the dates you changed it, and then if your odometer works, then I would write down the miles you have on your truck. My odometer doesn't work half the time, so the miles are off. That is unfortunate, though. So I just go every 3 months that I change it or so. It might not be every 3 months. I think it's been a little bit longer than that. But yeah, there she is. Thank you guys all so much for watching Ilsmo 15. If you had any questions about the video, let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you guys have any video suggestions, let me know down in the comment section below. Anyways, with that all being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. This is Ezra, signing off.